Welcome back, everybody. So today we're going to be painting this cute little bunny, little snow bunny. And see, I tried printing it on the wrong side. It's just a file folder. And I like using file folders for practice or how many, canvases can you possibly make? And it's cheaper. But just like to play in my uh, journals or whatever. And a lot of times I'll get the Diane Reevely journal because it's very much like a file folder, maybe a little bit thicker even. And it doesn't buckle and it doesn't seep through, and it's great for multi mediums of all kinds. So make sure to try those out. Now, the Giant Reevely journals are a little bit pricey, so I would suggest trying just the file folders, and I just get them off of the Amazon, or if you got a dollar store, they usually have a pack of 20 or something like that for, I don't know, $2 now, and they work great. I've used them in many, many paintings on YouTube. You can um, check out my channel and you'll see all kinds of paintings that I've done on them. So this is going to be a now it looks complicated, but it's going to be a fairly simple one. Um, it just looks complicated because of all the sticks and the leaves and melting snow, that type of thing. But it is going to be fairly simple. And there's different ways of painting with acrylics. Uh, you can either do a whole background first and then put your image on top. So you would have to get the traceable, which is available for all my members on Patreon and also YouTube members on YouTube. And after you've done your background, then you can put the rest of the stuff in. Uh, this one, because there is a lot of stems and stuff for you guys, I don't want you to have to go and trace all of this. It is quite a bit, but I'll show you what the easy way about going. Hi, Devin. Good to see you. So I'm going to tackle this the easier way. Now, it can be a little slower, but depending on how you paint, I'll try and slow down as much as I can. But if you're finding you're falling behind, just pause the video and the live, and then you can catch up once you've gotten up to a certain point. So we're going to probably start with the background around the bunny. So it's kind of like a little nest he's hiding in there. This is his little winter bed. And instead of painting around all these little sticks and stuff, what we're going to do is paint in the background, other than the bunny, uh, the either a really dark, dark gray or black. Could be a little of both, maybe even some umber. And today I'm going to be using just cheap crafters paint, and you can get this pretty well anywhere. It's inexpensive, and it's a great paint to practice with. And if you're going to be putting them in your journals, it's great because it doesn't stick together when you close your book. Where the other paint, like the artist grade paints, they will stick together, and then once you go and pry it apart, you're missing bits and pieces of your painting because it's stuck on the other side. Not fun. And these last for quite a while. I've had these since, let's see, I closed my shop in 2010. So they're 14 years old and they're still pretty good. Some of them are starting to go, but all in all, they last for quite a while. Just have to make sure you shake them up a little bit. So I'm just putting on darkest raw umber color that I could find, and this one is bittersweet chocolate. And then some soft Payne's gray. And let's see, I think I might want maybe a sienna color. So raw sienna is another color we'll be using. But I do want to use these up before they do go bad. Then a corn silk yellow, kind of a yellowish shade to it. Actually, no, I think I'll use old parchment. It's a little more warm. So a lot of times you'll find these paints go on sale around now. So you could pick them up for probably, I don't know, $1.50 each. And that's a whole lot better than $10 a piece for artist grade. Let's see, what other color? Maybe this color here. This is fawn. It's a little more of the stick color. And we'll mix things up too, make different colors. And I'm not going to worry about the bunny right now. So I'm going to just take a, this is a 1/4 flat angled. I like using these. And I did not put any kind of primer on this or clear gesso. So it will drag a little bit. We'll see how it goes though. I was scared that I might move my inkjet line, so we'll see how it goes, and if it's gonna be too difficult, then I'll put a spray coat on. So I've got that bittersweet, and I'm gonna mix some of that Payne's gray with it. And when you mix the dark brown with Payne's gray, you'll get more of a black color. It's not quite black. So he's way down by his body here will be a lot darker, and I'm not going to worry about the little bits of hair around the body of the rabbit quite yet. We can put that in when we paint the rabbit, and we'll overlap. And then up against the top part of this, it's a little darker. Not, you can't see the inside of the little tunnel, cave, whatever it is, den, I guess, of the bunny. So we'll just worry about the little hairs once we do the bunny. Now around the leaves and stuff, you can paint around them if you want. We are going to be putting on quite a few layers, so I'm not too worried about having it completely opaque yet. And then going out probably to about that leaf or that piece of snow, and just going to streak it in. Leave some of it open because that's part of the stems and whatnot. but if you cover too much, don't worry about it. Acrylic is awesome because we can always paint over it. And kind of have your streaks going the same direction though on this part, because you're kind of following the way the stems and twigs are crossing each other, and plus it gives you a little bit more idea of how you're going to paint in the stems. This side, not as much, but a little bit in the outer portions have some. So we can put some in there. And again, I'm not worried if I go over an edge or something. Don't worry about stuff like that because we can always paint that back in. And use the brush you're comfortable with. So let's see. Maybe a little bit in here. Like I said, we're going to add lots and lots of different colors here. And this is part of the inside of the den. Be darker. Basically, the closest part around the bunny body would be the darkest, and then it starts to lighten up a little bit. All of our rabbits here are white. Oh yeah, you got the white snowshoes. They're so pretty. Ours are kind of gray color, I guess. Do you have lots of jackrabbits? We got quite a few here. They're so funny. They're huge too. And their ears are so darn big. And let's see. Maybe a little bit more in under the snow. There's this little bit here is a heap of snow sitting on top of his little den roof. So be a little bit darker in there. Or wherever you think it's going to be darker too. You could actually, if you are unsure about how to color this, get some crayons or colored pencils out. You could always play with those too. A little bit in here, just some streaking because of the stems and whatnot that would be in here. So I'm just going to kind of paint around the a lot of snow and stuff in here. Let's see, I'll put in there around the leaf. I think that's good in there. And you can always go back and forth too. You don't have to finish one area completely. That's basically what I do. Yes, a lot of jackrabbits, yeah. Right? A little bit maybe around this leaf here. Just wanna kind of box this one in a little bit. These are kind of oak leaves. They got a lot of little swoops, points on them. That. Um, Maybe a few lines right here. That's part of the top of the nest thing. Cave. I don't know what I guess you would call it a den, wouldn't you? I'm not sure. It's very busy, but once you get going on it, you tend to figure out where everything is. Okay. I think that's pretty good. And take your time. You don't have to do it all in one night either. You could take a week or a day or as long as you want. Just enjoy what you're doing. Right? I think I'm gonna go to a smaller round brush for this. This is a number 4. Now I want to switch and do some of the stems and stuff. So I've got just the plain brown on my brush now. That's that bittersweet chocolate. And would be more into this color. I'm not worried about whether the first layer is dry or not, because I kind of want them to mix a bit. When they start mixing together, then you get a more detail and also dimension in your work. So you can switch back. So I'm going to use some of that. What was this one called? Parchment, I think. You just have to keep in mind the direction that all of the sticks were going in. And you can always go back over it too. A lot of times it's best if you do. Put even some of this sienna color in it. Give it a little bit of interest. Put water on my brush. And then we have, little, just a few on the inside here where you would notice just a bit of light showing through, maybe. Just play. Trying to keep the leaves separate. It is a very busy drawing, but I think you guys can figure it out. like so. And you can go back into your browns and blacks and do a little bit more, crisscross a little bit. I do mostly shorter strokes. You could do this over and over again. And the more you do, the better it looks. A little bit lighter on the one part here, kind of the entrance. Might be a little bit more defined too. I think so. Cute. Right. So now, let's see, what can we do now? I think I'm going to do the snow area on the bottom part here, wherever there's bits and pieces here and there. So I've got, let's see, some white here. Depending on the brand you have, you'll have to either put 1 or 2 coats on, and also depending on what your base is. Um, so the base of the file folder is still showing on this, but that's okay. And just go around the leaves. We can always put the little stems back in over top of it. So don't worry about stuff like that. And we're going to add highlights and shadows to the snow also, because it has a different shape, a lot of curving in it, kind of like a ball. So you got to represent that with shadows and highlights. This one up here, I believe. This part is snow one. If your background is white, you don't have to worry too much about the outer edge, because if it's white already. But also it depends on the white you're using, because not all whites are the same. And it could be different than your paper you're using or the canvas. But I always like, if you're doing it on canvas, I like to cover your whole canvas even. Did you say you did not gesso? Yes, I did not gesso. And it's going on all right, actually. This is just a cheap old file folder. Now, if I was, because there's a lot of little strokes in this one because of the subject matter, that might be the reason. But if I were doing, say, large areas where I needed the brush stroke to be clean, then it might be a problem. So, but with this, it's not too bad. And if something doesn't look right, just continue and then we'll take a look at it, and maybe it was supposed to be a leaf or whatever, but it doesn't have to be the exact as what the picture is traceable. You can change it up. If you don't want snow on there, don't put snow. You could have all the leaves, put more leaves on. This is a leaf or stems and whatnot. So is all your snow gone your way, Devin? We still have a little bit of snow on the ground here, but it's supposed to go like up to 12 tomorrow Celsius. Like, that's crazy. Hasn't been doing that type of thing for a long time. A little bit in here, maybe. Let's see. Maybe we'll just take some snow in there. This is snowy here. Bit there. I like doing painting on folders. I find it very relaxing because you don't have to worry about messing up a canvas. And it's more of a practice session to keep your skills up to par. It does, you don't paint for a long time, you do lose those skills. And you kind of have to retrain yourself again. Well, it's always good to get out a file folder and do a little practice. I know you think you're going to remember stuff, but you don't. And a lot of times it's not really thinking about it, it's the feel, I guess you could say. How things feel when you're using your brush, and you forget different techniques and kind of have to learn them again. Always good to just keep a little make your own little file folder painting book. You don't have to show it to anybody, but just practice in it. There that. This is kind of actually, this is kind of snowy in here, but it's got some twigs, so I'm just gonna paint over the whole thing, and then I'll put my twigs back in. A lot easier that way. Same with this bunny here, his little whiskers. Don't try painting over that. It'll drive you crazy. Oh, got a bunch of ads. Only 3 right a -3 right now. No, not gone, and we just got a flurry this morning. Well, as long as you don't have feet. That's so depressing when you hear all these people, "Oh, the daffodils are up," and you've got feet of snow. It feels like you're never gonna see your daffodils again. So I'm just gonna paint this in because there will be, highlights and some shadowed areas in here. I could actually just, do my wood log first. Maybe I'll do that, and then put those, dangling icicles in there. So maybe I'll paint that next. I'll just worry about around the bunny snow. 2 leaves on branches still on here. So what has everyone been doing in January? Or well, I guess it's February now, but in January and February, you follow, um, challenges or, stuff like that? I haven't done any of that this year. I know there's a lot out there, like bird what was it called? Bird February bird or something like that, where you draw birds for the whole month of February, and, um, face February 29 faces or 28 faces. I see Lena's doing that. Have you seen Miss Linux 2010 and her, beautiful faces that she's been painting? She has a great YouTube channel too. Devin, you've got put yours up. Awesome jelly printing if you're into jelly printing. I think you said you were thinking of getting into some other stuff with your gel prints, painting or something. They're a great base, I find. You can add to them and play with them. They're fun. There's a little bit of snow there. So this basically is going to map out where a lot of the areas are in my drawing here. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a easier way of seeing where everything is, like the leaves and the sticks. Or I think that's a piece of snow in there. And you can always add different leaves. You don't have to have the same amount of leaves as I have. And you probably do a few recoats of white where you've gone over something maybe, or a little bit. Let's see. I think I'm going to put that in there. And then I'll just put the leaves and stems in, right in there, over top of the white. That way it's not going to drive me nuts. That gives me a fairly decent idea where things are. I think Lena and Xander are doing the face February. Oh, are they? Both of them? Ah, okay. Put yours in too, Devin. It's got to be perks for being a mod, you know. Now I'm going to put the little, I'm going to get my bigger brush out here. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. And it's going to be kind of lightish brown. So I'm going to use some sienna and some of that parchment together. And maybe some of that yellow. Yeah, that's a good color. Maybe a bit of white. Oh, you can see. And this down here is where the stump, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to put, and I know I'm going over top of some of these icicles and stuff, but that's fine. I can put them back in. That's the nice thing about acrylics. So you can always throw them back in if you go over them. Like I said, this is just a play session for me, just to keep me doing some art and some of this. Let's see, I think it's about there. Keep me in practice, so to speak. I don't lose the knack of how to do stuff. Let's see. Let's darken that a little bit. So the shadow would be right in here. So I'm just going to put some of that bittersweet chocolate color in just to darken it. Maybe a little bit more on the very edge here. So a stump would be turning, so dry brush a little bit. And your underneath your snow would be a little bit shadowed. So you put some of that in there. Doesn't have to be a lot, but we'll put some of the white over top of this, so don't worry how it's looking. So that's the thing about doing acrylic painting is there's a lot of ugly stages, so to speak. You kind of have to remind yourself that because there's times where you're kind of looking and going, holy, that's really ugly. I'm quitting. Not doing this again. Don't give up. Kathy, see my comment above. I started a canvas inspired by you. I started a canvas abstract botanical inspired by your stream last week. I ordered the book and it awesome. Are you having fun with it? Yeah, those are really, really fun. Because there's really no wrong way of doing the flowers because they're abstract, right? That's great. How you liking it? Do you love it? Most people do once they start going into it. All right. I think I'm going to do a base coat on the leaves. So I have, let's see, I have this light avocado. I like the more of the olivey colors when I do leaves and that type of thing, grass. So, but I want this fairly light, so because my base coat's going to be light because it's winter time. The leaves aren't really supposed to be alive. Sometimes you'll see though the leaves are still hanging on. Like my roses, I looked out, I walked around the yard today, and the roses still have all their leaves. That's how mild it's been here. I'm going to use my other brush. Now I could use a smaller flat, but I'm going to use this. So I'm just going to base coat my leaves in this one color here. So you're using your gel prints for your painting, Devin? I think it'd be cool. Have you got a bunch of markers or? You don't have to have markers, but you could use inks. You could use all kinds of stuff. So just putting this base coat, is just a way of mapping in those leaf areas. And then you can step back and you can take a look. Do I have enough green in there? Do I need some more? Or maybe you've got too many and you want to cover some up. So it's up to you. Like I said, it doesn't mean you have to do this exactly as it's shown here. You could also add maybe a few more brown leaves or yellowish colored leaves, a little bit more dying off. a little bit, and you can change up the color a bit too. It's like, let's put a little darker green in this one, 'cause it's under kinda underneath the other one. That's not really dark enough. Let's make another puddle here. Okay. Doesn't have to be a lot of a difference, but just basically so I can see where everything is. So I know there's a leaf overlapping, so just a way of mapping in my leaves when they're overlapping. Like that. I'm gonna put that in here just to show that that one's kind of folded over a little bit. Here. Yes, gel print for the background. Most is covered with paint now, and gel print for the face. Awesome. Are you gonna show it when you're done? Or are you gonna do some online, or is it gonna be a surprise? You said you wanted to start selling them, didn't you? Or are you just practicing right now? They're so fun to do. Let's see, where else do I want one? For here. I think I'm gonna put a little bit of sienna in the ones over here. Make them a little different. Just starting to go. We can put some green ones too, but just change them up a little bit. Just makes it look a little bit more interesting when you have some variation in the green color. Let's put green in that one. Like I said, you don't have to have the pointy oak leaf. You could make these the rounded ones if you wanted, or fern, or that type of thing. And there is a fern that stays green all winter. It's called a Christmas fern. They're really cool. They grow huge. I remember seeing them on a property. I thought, wow. And they were wild, like really amazed. I'm recording and hope to upload a video this awesome. I'd love to see it. I think that's so cool. Because everybody's got a different interpretation of, because it's abstract. Nobody does the same abstract, right? So, and when you're mixing different colors and different textures and patterns, and there's so many variable ways of doing them that they're all unique. A little bit more brown in there. This one. These would be not, don't make them punch them out like a pattern, you know what I mean? Like, they're all different. Some are sideways, some are overlapping, some are curled. So don't worry about if they don't look like the one next to it, or they're looking a little bit funny looking, because they're all different depending on the angle they're at. So really, there's no wrong way of doing these either. You kind of want them to look a little wonky. Because that way they look a little bit more on the realistic side of things. And your eye will fill in the blank space, so to speak, of what it is. They're fun. Let's put one in here. That. Where else? Where else? We can fill in some of this too. Let's put a little bit of that brown in here too. Well, maybe this one will be brown, more on the brown side. We'll put veining in and that type of thing. And if you have Poscas, you could use those. Put the veins in. They'd all be a little bit ragged looking. So they're not going to be all pristine. It might even have holes in them. Who knows? Or even a lot of times you see little dark specks in the leaf. Just have fun with it. I like experimenting with stuff like this because it's easy to stamp out a bunch and you're not dimensional looking. So when you play with them, just add a little bit of different colors or shadows, whatever. See what you can make out of them. You want them all kind of different. Let's put some darker colors in here. Let's see. Even shadows, you could add shadows. You could too also, I like doing this, is do colored pencil. A lot of times I go over top with colored pencil. It's a little bit more controlled, I guess you could say, as far as detail. Let's do a little bit of this lighter shade now. White. Might have a bit less, a little more water in my brush. Brush it with your finger, smudges it, gives it a good effect. Sometimes your fingers are your best tool. Right here, maybe it'd be lighter. In here. Doesn't have to be a lot. It does help. Okay. Now I'm going to take a small liner brush here. Hopefully it's not too splayed. This is a 0. And some of that sienna color, that raw sienna color, fairly watered down because I want a good point. And now you can go in, not all of them, but some of them. Just put a little midline, kind of a rib. Just to show that or if you have this one's kind of, you have to be very light-handed. And I'm not accomplishing that the greatest right now. Oh well. Sometimes being too careful, it's harder. I just want to indicate that they're leaves. Sometimes when you're putting all that color on, you kind of lose the shape or what it is. So when you can put a few strokes for the stems, it works. Like that. And now I can put some other stems in, like probably let's connect some of these. So maybe they're might have to fill that in there. Some white. Yeah, I think I have to fill some of this in. A bit of white first. But this side can have some stems kind of falling down in the snow. Coming out of the snow, whatever. And then this little sticks. I'm going to get a little bit thicker consistency. Now this is the part you could probably use a Posca. This isn't a very good brush. Let's try this one. This is one of those Chinese calligraphy brushes. They're cheap. They always have a nice point. Now this isn't very opaque, so I'm probably going to have to use the dark lines as part of the stem coloring, but that's okay. I don't mind that. Just have to follow the line. Now, if you're figuring stuff out for an actual painting, then you would want to figure this out. This is when you would start playing with different materials or writing down, okay, I need to maybe color with white first, get rid of the lines, or use a marker pen or that type of thing. You just figure things out. No, I think make these a little bit bigger. So these are little twigs and stuff. Like that. Probably a line here. And maybe, Hey, Kim. Yeah, right? Cute little guys, but as soon as they enter the garden, little buggers. They are. Why well, even in the winter too, right? Because, well, they gotta have something to eat in the winter, so they munch down on your roses and some bushes, trees that you're hoping they won't touch. So I have to put in a bunch of wire and stuff to stop them from raiding my roses and anything that I want to keep from being mowed down. Or spring too, when things are just starting to come up. And they see the nice tender shoots. They just love mowing down on delphiniums and or eating the buds off of your tulips. It's a good thing that they're sweet looking. That's all I gotta say. Little bums. They can really wreak havoc on your garden. Okay. I'm going to probably put those back in again. Same with that. Now we'll probably put some shadowed pieces of snow in there. Let's see. Where else? There, I guess. Missed those spots. Get rid of some of those lines. A few in here, up here, these little whiskers. This would be the lightest area. Maybe in here, just along the edge here. A bit of water on my brush. So this is just because my paint isn't covering those dark lines that I'm going back on it. Right in here, a little bit. Like that. It's cute. Right. Now let's add a little bit of brown to our mix here of sienna. I want it a little bit darker. Now you can just go in, and if you have a brown sienna, let's try that. I'm going to try a marker. Let's see. Hopefully that'll should work. Yeah. And you can just go on the bottom sides of some of these. Give them a little bit of a shadow. And you can still, smudge them with your finger if you want. Just gives a little bit more personality, I guess. Some of these be darker. Put some more thicker ones in if you want. Let's see what else. else. We might put thicker ones in. Just throwing in some of the leaves. Veining in there a little bit. Kind of works for me. A little bit easier to navigate. That. This one here. This is an old marker. I'm surprised it's still working. Lucy likes eating. It's a problem. She's addicted. Devin and I. Oh. Devin, I watched you thrift haul. Could not believe I found the journal just waiting for you. Oh, you did a thrift haul? Oh, Lucy likes eating bunny. Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Mine do too. Little nuggets of snacks. I don't know. I don't get it. Just they love it. Mike calls them nature raisins. Okay, I'm gonna try and do a little bit of shading here. So I want a little bit of a grayish color. So I've got that Payne's gray. And I think I'm going to use that with white. Gives a nice soft color. And more of a glaze, so I have lots of water on my brush. So you'd have this little area right in here where it would be shaded. Very light. Doesn't have to be really, intense or anything. And right down here around the post would be. And kind of in here where the leaves are, maybe a little bit darker in there. And along the bottom here, where all this snow was falling. There's leaves and everything, so it's going to cast shadows. Like in there. That. And what we can add highlights. If you think you've gone too far with something, don't worry about it. You can always add highlights. kind of a little bit bright for you. Let me tone that down. There. I think that's better. No, a little bit more. How's that? Is that better? It's hard to get the right from what I'm seeing and what you guys are seeing. Okay, so it'll be a little bit of a shadow along here, side. Maybe in there. Just along the edge of this little clump of snow that's sitting on there. The bottom. There. And this could be a little bit more bluey. Right in here. You can always go back over the stems, so don't worry about that. Okay, and then now we can go back into the white, but watered down. Now you can do some a little bit more bright. You can make sure it's a fairly watered down consistency and then just blend it into that. So it's kind of soft transition. Because it'll kind of give you multiple tones of white then. It helps. Then we'll do the bunny. A little bit. On there. Just mix it up when you're painting, doing this type of thing. So it softens the transition. It's not, unless you have sometimes you do have a bright line, like a real firm. There's no soft transition because of a shadow, or maybe the snowbank has got a ridge on it type of thing. Let's put some more of these snow thingies down here. More these icicle type things. We can go back on top and that still looks dark. Looks good? Okay. Sure it doesn't look too dark? It's hard to tell. Try and cover some of that up. That. A little bit in here. And then we still have a little bit of shadow in there. These icicles. It looks pretty good. Cute. Right? Yes. Hershey Kisses. All right, let's do the bunny. So we're going to start off with a lighter color. So kind of this parchment color. Is it parchment? No. Oh, yeah, it is. Old parchment. And a little bit of the sienna. Just to make it a little bit more on the brown or reddish side. And let's just, I'm going to probably just base this guy in. Again, the ugly stage. So just base them in. Now I do see some of the line work still, so that's fine. I can use that. Because we'll put more layers on. This isn't the only layer. His face is a little bit lighter than the back end because the back of him is in shadow. So we'll have to darken the back part a little bit. And his nose is a little bit lighter. But we'll just put in this color for now. Because he does have like a fairly light color around his eyes and his little nose, but we can use white to fix that. And his little nose or cheeks, whatever you want to call them, will be a little bit on the lighter side too. But it's underneath his chin is fairly dark, so it's going to be that bittersweet chocolate color. I'm just going to go around his little mouth. And kind of up here, it's a little bit dark. And same with this side too, it gets a little dark because of the shadow. Like that. And then more into the reddish, just sienna color on his body. And we'll add more to this. It's just a base coat. Like that. And between his ears, a little darker. Actually, that's probably the darkest spot, is in between his ears. And a little bit of umber in here by his ear. Shadow, basically. And I'm mixing into that other color as I'm painting. So this isn't dry. You can do that, but if it starts drying, then leave it alone. Same with this guy, right, just right in here a little bit. And his ear here. And just small strokes too, not going very thick with it. And we'll add more to it. So more down in here, get a little darker. Now we can sweep it into the face a little bit, and that'll give you a little bit of fuzziness look. And not fairly dark in there. And right along here too, by his eye, it's darker. Yeah, he does look cozy in there. And then some white. Just by the his mouth and nose, it gets kind of white color. And a little bit on his chin. Same with his eye. Just above his eye. There's some white in there. And just a bit there. Cute. then on his ear. Well, let's do the inside of his ear first, though. So inside of his ear. Mm, uh-oh. Are you guys still watching? I had his uh, thing was going around. Yes, it is. Still there? Okay. Um, is it blurry? For some reason, it looks blurry to me. Yes, a bit blurry. Huh. Wonder why it's doing that. That's weird. Focus. Better? All right. So then a little bit color down here. Goes down into his nose a little bit. And kind of up into the ear area. I'm almost dry brushing when I'm doing this, so a little darker in here. Looks pretty good. I think maybe it was just my eyes. No, I think it was blurry on my end too. It was weird. It was a little glitch. from YouTube because it lowered my quality. Pretty bad when it lowers your quality when you're streaming. Okay. Just a little bit there. A little darker in here. I'm just adding more or less texture, I guess you could say. This one is the back side of the ear. A little bit more water on my brush for this one. And we'll add a little bit of texture. A little bit darker. Right in here. Little streaks. I'm just very, very lightly adding hairs, I guess. So it's more or less dry brushing, I guess you could say. Need a little bit more darker in there, though. And around his eye a little bit. And right down in the bottom of his ear, right there. Be darker. And then this other ear be a little bit lighter on the edge. And you can throw it out into the black now. Make it a little fuzzy. A bit of red in there. To start. And then a little bit more lighter, just a bit. Just on the very edge where he has these little tufts of fuzz. Let's see. And you kind of see it on the edge of his head. Kind of goes up to the top of his ear there for a little bit. That. And then very tops of his eye there, a little bit. And then on his cheek here, can have some light color. And just sweep it out a little bit. And a little bit of sienna again, right in there. Like that. It's cute. And in here, be a little darker. Along his muzzle. And a little bit on his nose, on the top of his nose. Not much, but a little bit. I still think that needs to be darker right in there. And right in here. And then a little bit of that sienna color with a little bit of that brown, just to darken it a little bit. And the sienna color on its own, right in here. I'm going to add a little bit more this creamy color. Brush it in a little bit. And right on here, I think. So it's kind of, you just play back and forth with the colors. So you're always looking at where's the highlights. And you might go overboard a little bit, but you can always go back and play with it. Just keep playing with it until you get it the way you want. I think it needs to be a little bit on the white side. Right in here. Comes down to the edge like that. Kinda sprays out a little bit. Um, I think this needs to be a little more on the white side. Right there. And this here needs to be fuzzed up. That. A bit lighter in there. Hubby is home, going to go now. Awesome. Have a good evening. Thanks for coming. A little bit on the. Oop, too light. Just a bit lighter there on the tops. Of his ear. Or actually, no, I'm looking at the wrong part. Should be here. Oh well, I'll have to darken it. It's a little bit of dark umber. Just a bit. So that's the back of his ear. So it'd be darker. Just keep playing with it till I like it. The other one is a little bit darker right around there. Just a little bit of a shadow on the inside of his ear right there. Cool. All right, so let's get this nice tip brush, and I want to put the lips in, and I'm going to just do them in the umber color. So let's make sure I get a good point. So it's under his nose. That, and his mouth. Like that. And his eyes. It's like he has eyeliner on. Now his eyes are pretty dark. I think I might go in with a colored pencil. Why not? I have more control. And it's my picture. I can do what I want. A nice dark dark, either almost black, brown, or black. And we'll just go with black. I don't have all my pencil crayons in here. Oh, that one's fairly dark. Let's try it. Okay. You can hardly see. It's more or less just a dark area. And then kind of a little bit on the amber side, or orangey rust color, I guess. And let's get a black for pupil. There we go. And it'd be a little bit shadowed on the top. I'm just going to color in the top a little bit. And you can't really see the white of the eye. That's basically good, like that. And then I'm going to color in around his chin. Make it darker. This is what I like to do, is, I guess it's mixed media. Because it's very dark. Right under there. You can bring it into his fur. It's a little bit of fuzziness then. Same with his back here. Just bring it in to the just have to make sure your fur's going the right way. Some of the area that's the nice thing about using the craft paint, is you have tooth. So you're able to do this. The artist grade, you're not going to be able to do this. It does have a little I think I need to bring that down. Like that. And little marks. Short marks, though, not too big. Little dabs. Just bring some of this out. Pencil. That. And then he's got the whiskers. We have a few little light dots in here where his whiskers go. If I have, yep, I do have a white Posca, and I'm going to put his whiskers in. Now, the whiskers on top of the snow will be darker, but they're light. Don't have to be crazy. Ooh. That, and then just a very sharpen this black pencil. Hey, Dot, good to see you. Oh, no problem. Oh, yeah, I don't know what to say, Dot. So over top of the snow are going to be a light like that. Now I can put some light ones on his, I think he has a few on his eyebrow too, like that. Maybe like that. Oh, and let's put a little glint in his eye. Don't really see the one up here. I think I put that mark. I think it should have been like that. With some darker areas in there. Here, like that. I think that's pretty good. Then you can color in some of this, the shadow, maybe. Just a little bit of texture. The wood. It's cute. That looks good. All right, and then let's put a little bit of snow back in the bottom here just to finish it up. Maybe it sweeps up to the snow on the just finish it up so it looks a little more. Don't have to do it all in, um, like, to the end, each side. Just enough to make it look finished. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more. These need something. I could do colored pencil on this too. It's a little more detailed. Depends how much you wanna do, actually. You wanna get really detailed, then have fun with it. All right. I think he's done. Here's our little winter bunny, snuggled in his little den till the weather changes. So I hope you enjoyed this and you give it a go. And don't forget to download the printable. It's ready for you on the community page in your memberships on YouTube or Patreon. And we'll see you later and have a fantastic weekend. Bye for now.